Okay, we made it to the order of scales and the cycle of fifths. This rainbow color circle here represents all the keys. So let's go back to a little theory and try to understand keys. We derive them from scales. And so what is a key anyway? Key is built as a result of making a scale out of whole steps and half steps. There's a certain amount of sharps and flats that develop out of this procedure. When the C scale is built from the whole steps and half steps, it turns out there are no sharps or flats. Any other scale which are also built from whole steps and half steps will contain sharps or flats. So you're now looking at the cycle of fifths again, and it displays the order of keys as they take on more flats going counterclockwise and more sharps going clockwise. For instance, G and D. D has more sharps than G. E has more sharps than A. A flat has more flats than B flat. A flat has more flats than E flat, B flat, or F. Here's the actual order where each key develops more flats or sharps as they go around the cycle. Notice now G flat and F sharp. Remember that G flat is the same note as F sharp, so therefore you could say it's the same key, but one is spelled out with flats and the other way is spelled out with sharps. B has 5 sharps, E has 4 sharps, etc. As far as major keys are concerned, when you see a bunch of sharps or flat at the beginning of a piece, you can now tell what key you're in by the amount of sharps shown. The key signature is shown just before the time signature. Here's a little picture of the key of E, E major. And notice that C there. The C is the time signature. It actually means 4/4. And there's the treble clef. So in between the treble clef and the time signature is the key signature. The sharps here are F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. And they're put that way in that order on purpose. Okay, so let's make sure that is correct by building our own E major scale, as we've done before. Let's take the formula out again, TTS, TTTS. So one whole step, one tone from E to F sharp, another tone from F sharp to G sharp, a semitone from G sharp to A whole tone from A to B, from B to C sharp, from C sharp to D sharp, and then a semitone from D sharp to E. Notice how many sharps there are. It has F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. But that's not how we lay out the sharps in the key signature. There will be 4 of them, but not in that order. So instead of going through this process of slowly building scales with whole steps and half steps, we can now instead look at or memorize the cycle of fifths charts for the amount of sharps in any key. Look at the sharps in the key of E. There it is, 4 sharps. Now, the question is, which sharps does E have? Well, we already figured that out. The order of sharps can be seen as you wind your way around the cycle of fifths clockwise. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. That's the order that they're placed in the key signature. F sharp, then C sharp, then a G sharp, then a D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, B sharp. On the staff, this is what the key signatures look like. There's the key of G with 1 sharp. That little sharp placed on the top line is placed on the line F. F sharp is the first sharp. The next key, D, has the sharps F sharp and C sharp. Notice the line F sharp and the space C sharp. In the key of A, we have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. G sharp sits on top where the note G is. Key of E we have covered. Here's the key of B. which adds the A sharp as the fifth sharp. F sharp has an E sharp. And C sharp has a B sharp. It's very rare that you're going to run into a key of C sharp. And flats fall in the same counterclockwise order as the cycle of fifths. So we have one flat, key of F, two flats, key of B flat. And this is the way they're going to show up on the staff. There's a key of F with one flat. The flat is B flat. Now when there's two flats in a key of B flat, you have the flats B flat and E flat. In the key of E flat, you have the flats B flat, E flat, and A flat. In the key of A flat, you have B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. Now, just to make it a little easier for you, look at this key of A flat and go to the flat before it, the last flat. The flat before the last flat. The last flat is D flat, the one before it is A flat. Look at that, that's the key you're in. Let's go to D flat. The last flat is a G flat. So what's the flat before that? That's a D flat. And it tells you what key you're in. That's just a little trick. So bring it all the way to C flat, which has an F flat. What's the flat before it? It's the C flat. Tells you what key you're in. So the flats are easy to tell. When you see a bunch of flats, it's easy to tell what key you're in. And those dashes, those are rests, so they have nothing to do with keys. And having a key signature makes the notes sharp or flat accordingly throughout all the measures. That means you no longer need to write the sharps or flats next to the notes. So this, an A scale, with a C sharp, an F sharp, and a G sharp, which is not the order of sharps, but the order that they fall in the scale, we can now see the order of sharps in the key signature below. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. We learn to recognize those three sharps as the key of A major. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F sharp, G sharp, A, with a C sharp in there too. Notice that there are no sharps or flats written in the scale because they're written in the key signature. That means every F you see will be an F sharp, every C you see will be a C sharp, every G you will see will be a G sharp. Unless they're marked with a natural sign, which negates the sharp. Now, here in a flat key, A flat, we have A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. And instead of writing all the flats out on the staff like that, we can write them out in a key signature with four flats. And that gives us the key of A flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. The key of A flat. So we see the A, B, C, D, E, they're written plainly, are actually A flats, B flats, E flats, and D flats. So now that you're already overwhelmed with this cycle of fifths in major keys, I have to tell you that for every major key there exists a minor key that is relative to the particular major key, and it shares the same key signature. The way to find the relative minor from the major scale is to count up 6 notes from the major note. In C, for instance, we count up 6. C, D, E, F, G, A. And we come to A. A minor shares the same key signature as C major. The key signature happens to be no sharps or flats. Going back to the E example, we count to the 6th note. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. The relative minor that shares the same key signature with E is C sharp minor. By using the same key signature and starting on the 6th note, we get a C sharp minor scale. This is what's called a natural minor scale. The intervals are the same as major scale, but they have a different starting point. T, S, T, T, S, T, T. Starting on C sharp to D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. It's the same order of notes that you saw on the E scale, only the starting on a C sharp. So E major is relative to C sharp, minor. Or I should say C sharp minor is relative to E major. There are two other forms of the minor scale. One's called harmonic and melodic. The intervals change on the 6th and 7th steps. For this study, we're not going to go into that because we're going to reserve these scales for some other time. And what we really want to do is focus on the note reading. So if you study and memorize the cycle of fifths, you'll know what key you are in by the amount of sharps shown in the key signature. Should you see 5 sharps in the key signature, you'll know automatically that it is either B major or G sharp minor. If you see 1 sharp in the key signature, you then know it'll be either G major or E minor. And here's the list of the keys with the relative minors. I put the minors in small case, majors in uppercase. So we have C major, A minor, F major, D minor, etc. Take a look at that. Just be familiar with that, because you may look at a key signature once and you'll say, hey, I know this is in the key of E major, and it turns out it's actually in the key of C sharp minor. Okay, so we'll talk about that some other time, but now we're going to get into the next video, which features reading with chromatic and whole tone scales. Hang in there. This is Gene Petty. Take care.